Hello everybody. So I will be doing chapter 4, which is working with list. In chapter 3 we learned how to make a simple list and we learned to work with the individual elements in the list. And then in this chapter we'll learn how to loop through an entire list using just a few lines of code, regardless of how long the list is. Looping allows us to take the same action or set of action with every item in a list. As a result, we'll be able to work efficiently with lists or of any length, including those with thousands or even millions of items. So looping through an entire list. So we'll often want to run through all entries in a list, performing the same task with each items. So we have magicians.py, and then in magicians, it's magicians is equals to, so this magicians is equals to, and then in our list we have Alice, David, Carolina. For magician in magicians, print magicians. So for, I'm sorry, let me print this. So we begin by defining the list and then we define a for loop. So this line is going to tell Python to pull a name from the list of magicians and associate it with the variable magician. And then we tell Python to, I'm sorry, my laptop is slow. I don't know why it's not printing. Okay, it'll print, but so what it'll basically do after the print, it'll just loop through the entire list. Okay, there it's printing. And then okay, it's I thought it's gonna print out now. And then we have the print statement, which has an F string, which says F magician the title. That was a great trick. Let me remove the print. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me print that out. What is going on? Okay. Okay. Let me indent it. Okay, yes. Alice, that was a great trick. David, that was a great trick. Carolina, that was a great trick. And then we have avoiding indentation errors. Forgetting to indent. Again, in our magicians.py, we have the same list for magician and magicians, print magician. So if we put it like this, okay, sorry, let me comment this up. So after the our for loop, we have to indent the print statement. So if we don't indent it, it will throw an error. And there we go, indentation error, expected an indented block after for statement on line 3. So we should always indent after the for statement. There we go. And then we have using a range to make a list of numbers. If we want to make a list of numbers, we can convert the result of a range directly into a list using the list function. When we wrap up list around a call to the range function, the output will be a list of numbers. So we have even numbers.py. Let me clear the terminal. Okay, so even numbers is equals to list, then our range, and we have 2, 11, and 2. So in this example, the range function starts with the value 2 and then adds 2 to that value. So it adds 2 repeatedly until it reaches or passes the end value 11 and produces the result. Okay, let's print. There you go, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and it's going to stop before 11 as our end value is 11. So this is the starting, this is the starting value, the 2, this is the end value, and then this is what we add onto the value. And then we have working with a part of a list, slicing a list. To make a slice, we specify the index of the first and the last element we want to work with. We have players.py, and we have our value players is equals to our variable, the list, Charles, Martina, Michael, Florent, and Eli. And we, okay, sorry, let me print this out. Okay, and then we have print players from index 0 to index 3, and then let's print that. We have Charles, Martina, and Michael. So this is index 1, index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4. So we printed from index 0 to index 3, but the index 3 was not printed out. It's only going to print from index 0 to index 2. That's why we have Charles, Martina, and Michael. And then looping through a slice. Okay, we're gonna print here are the first 3 players on my team, and then we're gonna add sorry, let me comment this. Okay, so for player in players, index 3, print player dot title, and then we're using a for loop to print out a player, players in the first 3 players on the team. So it's going to print from index 0 to index 2, as it will not print out the 3rd index, as that's where it stops. So again, it's Charles, Martina, Mikhail, and then the in title form. And then we have we have tuples or tuples, dimensions.py. Okay, dimensions.py. A tuple looks like a list, except you use parentheses instead of square brackets. So once we define a tuple, we can access individual elements by using each item's index, just as you would for a list. So we have this example, dimensions, we have 250, and then print dimensions in index 0. It's going to print, sorry, let's print that out. It's going to give us 200, and then print dimensions in index 1. It's going to print out 50. And there we go. And then we have okay, that is the end of chapter 4 and the summary of chapter 4. In this chapter, we learned how to efficiently work with the elements in a list. You learned how to work through a list using a for loop, how Python uses indentation to structure a program, and how to avoid some common few operation errors. And we learned how to slice a list to work with a subset of items and how to copy lists properly using a slice. We also learned about tuples, which provide a degree of protection to a set of values that shouldn't change, and how to style your increasingly complex code to make it easy to read. And that is the end of chapter 4.